Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss Amistad, starring Morgan Freeman, Anthony Hopkins, Djimon Hounsou, Matthew McConaughey, and Stellan Skarsgård, and directed by Steven Spielberg. Let's just get into this review one way we can, because I don't remember this movie ever coming out. This movie takes place in 1839 with Djimon Hounsou's character, before he was famous for and most well known for Gladiator, as a man who escapes from slavery and acts like a warrior to kill the slave masters, is brutal, but not as brutal as next week's movie Saving Private Ryan's opening scene, but and it's set on La Amistad. And I do like that sequence. I'm just going to put it out there, guys. This is going to be one of those reviews that might be a little bit short because I can't understand what's happening. So here we go. When the La Amistad and another ship pass by each other after it's being taken over was kind of a funny sequence. Just the way they stare at each other kind of made me laugh. Morgan Freeman and Stellan Skarsgård are introduced in this movie. Freeman plays Theodore Johnson and Skarsgård plays Tappan. And I really like both actors in their roles and their presences as much as Batman for Morgan Freeman and Pirates of the Caribbean for Stellan Skarsgård. A real estate agent gets introduced to Tappan and Theodore by the name of Roger Sherman Baldwin, who is a lawyer played by Matthew McConaughey, who I always enjoy seeing McConaughey in the movies, and his presence here is fine, in my opinion. John Quincy Adams, played by Anthony Hopkins, which isn't he a producer, is introduced to sleep on the job, made me laugh. Which, wasn't he a president at one point, is my question. That's right, he was the sixth president of the United States of America in 1825 to 1829, and I really like Anthony Hopkins as a commanding presence, and he looks the part. I will give him that. I'm watching this movie, and is well acted, well made, but I'm actually really confused. Is this a courtroom biography drama, but about slavery? Because I'm having a hard time knowing what this movie's about, other than freedom of slavery and eventually becoming unsuccessful, but not in this movie, but in general. Djimon Hounsou, and that's what I'm going to keep calling him throughout the movie, getting taken away from his family in Africa was a very sad sequence. It almost reminded me of the TV show from the 1970s called Roots, which I have to confess I've never seen, but I hear it's good but rough and depressing. But seriously, that's one hell of a sad scene. Djimon Hounsou says, "Give us free," at around 6 or 7 times, maybe. I thought, what the hell is he meaning by that? Because I know he wants freedom so he can get back to his family at some point by the end of this movie. The African slaves get their freedom and have permission to go back home to Africa was a good but a little unrealistic because how could a judge believe the defendant's story? That didn't make any sense to me. Djimon Hounsou discovers Roger Sherman lied about his word about his freedom and holds on to a grudge at Roger Sherman. Was not only two-faced of Roger Sherman, but Hounsou screamed something I couldn't quite catch. He was speaking African, maybe, but that scene made sense because Roger Sherman should have kept his promise. So at the end of the movie, John Adams releases the Africans so they can be free forever. Was a good way to end the movie in a good but kind of a weak message, in my opinion. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 5.7 out of 10. This isn't necessarily Spielberg's best work, but it was really just an okay movie for me. There were times when I was both bored and confused to death, but don't get me wrong, it really was well made and well acted, but it's just a mild recommendation in my opinion. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and next week I'll be back with Saving Private Ryan. And before I say goodbye, I want to clarify some things. 1. Be sure to subscribe. 2. Watch some more videos in this series, such as other ones, and be sure to write a positive comment, or if you can at least, and hit like if you can. So, until next time, have a good one.